Revelation chapter 13 verse 17 states, "And that no one may buy or sell except one who has the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name." This verse underscores the profound economic control exercised by the Antichrist's regime, utilizing commerce as a means to enforce allegiance to the beast. The imposition of this mark creates a society where participation in economic activities is contingent upon one's submission to the Antichrist, thereby excluding and marginalizing those who refuse to comply. The economic coercion described in this verse is a formidable tool of oppression. By making the ability to buy and sell contingent upon receiving the mark, the Antichrist ensures that individuals are economically dependent on his regime. This control over commerce serves not only as a means of survival, but also as a mechanism to enforce loyalty. Those who refuse the mark are effectively cut off from the economic system, leading to severe hardship, deprivation, and ultimately starvation. This form of coercion is designed to break the will of those who resist, forcing them into submission or facing dire consequences. Historical parallels to this type of economic control can be seen in various societies where loyalty oaths and marks were required for participation. In ancient Rome, for instance, citizens were often required to offer sacrifices to the emperor and receive a certificate as proof of their loyalty. Those who refused were excluded from societal privileges and faced severe penalties. This practice ensured that political and religious allegiance was maintained through economic and social pressure. Similarly, during the reign of totalitarian regimes in modern history, individuals were often required to demonstrate their loyalty to the ruling party through various means, including membership cards, badges, and public declarations. Failure to comply often resulted in exclusion from economic activities, loss of employment, and social ostracism. The mark of the beast, therefore, represents a totalitarian system that uses economic means to enforce religious and political compliance. The right hand and forehead, where the mark is placed, symbolize action and thought, respectively. By marking these areas, the Antichrist regime claims authority over both the actions and beliefs of individuals. This mark is not merely a physical sign, but a declaration of allegiance, indicating that the bearer has submitted to the authority of the beast and rejected the sovereignty of God. The enforcement of this mark also serves to identify and target those who remain faithful to Christ. Revelation chapter 13 verse 8 states that all who dwell on the earth will worship the beast, except those whose names are written in the book of life of the Lamb, slain from the foundation of the world. The faithful are thus distinguished by their refusal to receive the mark, setting them apart as targets for persecution. This persecution is not merely physical, but economic, as they are cut off from the means of survival in a society that demands allegiance to the beast. The economic exclusion faced by those who refuse the mark parallels the experiences of early Christians who faced persecution for their refusal to worship Roman gods or the emperor. The Apostle John, who penned the book of Revelation, himself experienced exile on the island of Patmos due to his testimony of Jesus Christ and his refusal to bow to Roman authority. The early Christians often faced loss of property, imprisonment, and death for their steadfastness in the faith. Similarly, during the end times, believers will face severe economic and social penalties for their refusal to worship the beast, necessitating a profound faith and reliance on God's provision. The mark of the beast also serves as a counterfeit to the seal of God, described in Revelation chapter 7 verses 2 through 4, where the servants of God are sealed on their foreheads. This seal signifies God's ownership and protection of his people. In contrast, the mark of the beast signifies allegiance to Satan and subjection to his authority. The stark contrast between the seal of God and the mark of the beast highlights the spiritual battle between good and evil, and the ultimate allegiance each individual must choose. For believers, the teaching on the mark of the beast is a call to steadfast faith and perseverance. The economic pressures and persecution faced during the Great Tribulation will test the resolve of the faithful, requiring them to stand firm in their commitment to Christ despite the severe consequences. Revelation chapter 14 verses 12 through 13 emphasizes the need for patient endurance on the part of the saints who keep the commandments of God and their faith in Jesus. The promise of eternal rest and reward for those who die in the Lord provides hope and encouragement in the face of persecution. The ultimate fate of those who receive the mark of the beast is one of judgment and eternal separation from God. Revelation chapter 14 verses 9 through 11 provides a solemn warning, stating that anyone who worships the beast and his image and receives his mark will drink of the wine of the wrath of God and will be tormented with fire and brimstone. This passage underscores the severity of the consequences for those who align themselves with the Antichrist, emphasizing the importance of remaining faithful to Christ. The economic control exercised through the mark of the beast also highlights the importance of community and mutual support among believers. During times of persecution, the early church often relied on the support and generosity of fellow believers to survive. Acts chapter 2 verses 44 through 45 describes how the early Christians had all things in common and sold their possessions and goods to distribute to anyone in need. Similarly, during the Great Tribulation, believers will need to support and care for one another, sharing resources and providing for each other's needs in the face of economic exclusion. The teaching on the mark of the beast serves as a sobering reminder of the realities of spiritual warfare and the cost of discipleship. It calls believers to be vigilant, discerning, and prepared to face persecution for the sake of Christ. The promises of God's ultimate victory and the eternal rewards for the faithful provide the strength and encouragement needed to endure the trials and tribulations of the end times. Revelation chapter 13 verse 17 reveals the profound economic control exercised by the Antichrist regime through the imposition of the mark of the beast. This mark signifies total allegiance to the beast and creates a society where economic participation is contingent upon submission to the Antichrist. The historical parallels of loyalty oaths and marks underscore the coercive nature of this system. For believers, this verse is a call to steadfast faith and perseverance as they face severe economic and social penalties for their refusal to worship the beast. The teaching on the mark of the beast emphasizes the importance of community support among believers and the ultimate victory and eternal rewards promised to the faithful. The economic control and persecution faced during the Great Tribulation highlight the realities of spiritual warfare and the cost of discipleship, calling believers to remain vigilant, discerning, and prepared to endure for the sake of Christ.